You have a Roth IRA, or you've been meaning to open one. You've heard it's good. You've heard something about tax-free growth. Maybe someone at work mentioned it once and you nodded like you knew what they were talking about and then went home and Googled it for 4 minutes before getting distracted. And here's the thing. Even the people who actually have a Roth IRA open, who have been contributing to it for years, who feel good about the fact that they're doing the responsible financial thing, most of them are making a mistake so fundamental that it's quietly costing them tens of thousands of dollars over the life of the account, not because they're careless, not because they're bad with money, but because nobody ever clearly explained to them what a Roth IRA actually is versus what most people think it is. And those two things are not the same. What most people think a Roth IRA is, a savings account with tax benefits, is not wrong exactly, but it is so incomplete that acting on that understanding produces results that are a fraction of what the account is actually capable of delivering. Today, I'm going to show you the mistake. I'm going to show you why it happens, and I'm going to show you exactly what you should be doing instead. My name is Sig, and I spend way too much time thinking about money, tax strategy, and the specific places where ordinary people leave extraordinary amounts of wealth on the table simply because nobody explained the rules clearly. If you want to understand the accounts and strategies that actually build wealth over time, not the complicated version that requires a financial advisor, the version that any person can implement this week. Subscribe to this channel right now and give this video a thumbs up if it ends up changing something real about how you manage your money. Because what I'm about to show you is one of the most actionable and high-impact financial corrections most people can make. And it costs nothing to fix except the understanding of what you've been doing wrong. Let me describe the most common Roth IRA experience in America right now, because I want you to recognize yourself in this if it applies to you. Someone opens a Roth IRA. They set up automatic contributions, maybe $6,000 a year, maybe less. They feel good about this. They feel like they are doing the responsible adult financial thing. And then the money goes into the Roth IRA. And it sits there, in the cash portion of the account, earning essentially nothing, slowly accumulating as contributions come in month after month, sitting in what looks like a savings account inside the Roth IRA wrapper, collecting interest at a rate that hovers somewhere between embarrassing and insulting. And the person checks the account occasionally, sees the balance growing from contributions, feels like the account is working, and moves on with their life. Here is what is actually happening. The money is in the account, but it is not invested. It is sitting in the default cash position that every brokerage puts your money in when you first deposit it. And the single most common and most expensive Roth IRA mistake in America is exactly this: opening the account, contributing to it, and never actually investing the money inside it. The Roth IRA is not an investment, it is a container. What you put inside that container determines whether your money grows into something significant or sits there doing essentially nothing while you believe you are building wealth. This distinction is so important, I want to make sure it lands completely before we move on. A Roth IRA is a tax designation. It is a legal wrapper that the IRS recognizes as a retirement account with specific tax treatment. It is not an investment product. It does not grow by itself simply because money is inside it. Think of it like this. A Roth IRA is a jar. The jar has a special property. Whatever grows inside it is tax-free. But the jar itself does not make things grow. You have to put something inside the jar that grows. If you put cash inside the jar, the cash grows at whatever rate cash earns, which is essentially nothing in real terms. If you put a total market index fund inside the jar, that index fund grows at whatever the market returns, which historically has been around 8% annually. Same jar, completely different outcome. The tax advantage of the Roth IRA, the thing that makes it one of the most powerful retirement accounts available to regular Americans, only becomes meaningful when the money inside is actually invested and compounding. Tax-free growth on a savings account rate is almost worthless. Tax-free growth on 8% annual market returns compounded over 30 years is one of the most powerful wealth-building mechanisms available to any person regardless of income. Let me show you the real numbers because I think seeing the actual difference makes the mistake impossible to ignore once you understand it. To people both open a Roth IRA at age 28. Both contribute $6,000 a year for 35 years until they reach 63. Same account, same contributions, same timeline. Person A never invests the money inside the account. It sits in the default cash position earning 1% annually. After 35 years of contributions, Person A has approximately $242,000 in their Roth IRA. Person B invests every contribution into a total market index fund the day it hits the account. The fund earns 8% annually on average over the 35-year period. After 35 years of the same contributions, Person B has approximately $1,060,000 in their Roth IRA. Same account, same contributions, same timeline. Person A has $242,000. Person B has over $1 million. The difference, $818,000, is entirely the result of what was inside the container, not how much went in, not when it went in, what it was invested in once it arrived. And here is the part that should make this feel genuinely urgent. Every month, that money sits uninvested in the cash position of a Roth IRA, a month of compounding that cannot be recovered. The math does not care about your intentions. It only responds to what is actually happening inside the account. Here is why this mistake is so widespread and why it is not a reflection of laziness or stupidity, but of how brokerage accounts actually work combined with how financial education in America actually doesn't work. When you open a Roth IRA at Fidelity or Vanguard or Schwab or any major brokerage, the process is designed to get you to contribute money. The platform guides you through setting up an account, linking your bank, scheduling contributions. It is smooth and well designed. What it does not do, at least not prominently, is tell you that the money you just deposited is now sitting in a cash equivalent position earning nothing, and that you need to take a separate action to actually invest it. The contribution and the investment are two separate steps. Most people complete step 1 and believe they have completed the process. The brokerage interface often shows you your account balance growing with each contribution, and that visible growth creates the feeling that something is happening when what is actually happening is just money accumulating in a low interest cash position. Some brokerages have improved this in recent years by prompting new account holders to select investments or by automatically investing contributions into a default fund. But millions of existing accounts were opened before these improvements, and millions of people are still contributing to accounts where the money is sitting uninvested because nobody ever told them the second step existed. Let me show you what this looks like in a real situation, because the math becomes very personal very quickly. Jason is 41 years old. He opened a Roth IRA at 29 when a coworker mentioned it. He has been contributing faithfully for 12 years. He has put in approximately $58,000 in total contributions over that period. He checks the account occasionally and sees a balance of around $63,000 and feels reasonably good about it. The account is growing, not dramatically, but consistently. He feels like he is doing the right thing. Then one afternoon, Jason actually looks at his account properly for the first time in years, and he realizes that his entire balance is sitting in a money market fund inside the Roth IRA. It has been earning between 1 and 2% annually for 12 years. His $63,000 balance represents 12 years of contributions plus minimal interest. If Jason had invested those same contributions into a total market index fund the day each one arrived, his balance would be approximately $94,000 today. The difference is $31,000. $31,000 that Jason effectively left on the table over 12 years by completing step 1 and not knowing step 2 existed. And here is the part that really stings. That $31,000 gap is not the final cost of the mistake, because money that was not invested at 29 did not compound through Jason's 30s. The real cost, when you project the lost compounding forward to retirement, is well over $100,000 in final retirement wealth for a mistake that takes about 4 minutes to fix once you know it exists. Now let me talk about the people who are investing inside their Roth IRA, because there is a second very common mistake that affects this group, and it is almost as expensive as not investing at all. A significant number of people who do invest their Roth IRA contributions put the money into individual stocks, actively managed mutual funds with high expense ratios, or very conservative bond-heavy portfolios that are inappropriate for their age and timeline. Let me address each of these. Individual stocks inside a Roth IRA feel exciting. You're picking companies you believe in, you're being strategic, and if you pick the right ones, you can generate extraordinary returns. But here is what the data says about individual stock picking. Over any 10-year period, approximately 80% of actively managed funds, run by professional investors with teams of analysts and decades of experience, underperform a simple total market index fund. If professionals, with all of their resources and expertise, cannot reliably beat the index, the probability that an individual investor picking stocks part-time while also managing a career and a life will consistently beat it is extremely low. High expense ratio mutual funds are a quieter but equally damaging problem. An actively managed fund with a 1.2% annual expense ratio versus a total market index fund with a 0.03% expense ratio seems like a small difference. On a $100,000 account, it costs you $1,200 per year in fees. On a $500,000 account, it costs you $6,000 per year. Compounded over 30 years, the difference in ending wealth between a low-cost index fund and a high-cost actively managed fund that produces equivalent pre-fee returns is staggering. You are paying for performance that the data shows you are almost certainly not receiving. Here is a mistake that is more nuanced than the first two, but potentially just as costly for the right person in the wrong situation. Not everyone should be prioritizing a Roth IRA over a traditional IRA or traditional 401k and choosing wrong costs real money. The core question is simple. Do you want to pay taxes now or later? A Roth IRA means you pay taxes on the money before it goes in and then pay zero taxes on everything it grows into when you withdraw in retirement. A traditional IRA, or 401,000, means you pay zero taxes on the money going in. You get a deduction, and then pay taxes on withdrawals in retirement. The Roth wins if your tax rate in retirement is higher than your tax rate today. The traditional wins if your tax rate today is higher than it will be in retirement. For most young people early in their careers, who are in the 12 or 22% federal tax bracket right now, the Roth IRA is almost certainly the right choice. They are in low tax years, paying taxes now at a low rate on money that grows tax-free for 35 years is an extraordinary deal. For someone at peak earnings in their late 40s or early 50s in the 32 or 35% bracket who expects to have significantly lower income in retirement, the traditional account may produce better after-tax results. The mistake is not having a Roth IRA. The mistake is choosing a Roth IRA or a traditional account based on which one you heard more about rather than which one actually produces better after-tax results for your specific income situation in your specific tax bracket right now. Here is the thing about the first and most common mistake I described, the money sitting uninvested in the cash position, that I want you to hear clearly. The fix takes about 4 minutes. You log into your brokerage account. You navigate to your Roth IRA. You look at the holdings. If you see something like a money market fund, a cash position, or an uninvested cash balance as your primary holding, you click into it. You select to exchange or transfer it into an investment. You choose a total market index fund, something like F0X at Fidelity, VTSAX or VTI at Vanguard, or SWTSX at Schwab. You confirm the transaction. You set future contributions to automatically invest in that same fund when they arrive. You close the app. That is it. 4 minutes. And that 4 minutes is worth, depending on how long your money has been sitting uninvested and how long you have until retirement, potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars in final retirement wealth. There are very few financial decisions in a person's life where from minutes of action produces that magnitude of result. Most meaningful financial improvements require sustained behavior change over long periods of time. This one is a single correction that then runs on autopilot for decades. If you do nothing else with what you learned today, do this. Log in. Check what your Roth IRA money is actually invested in. If the answer is cash or a money market fund, fix it today. Let me cover one more mistake because it affects a specific group of people and they often don't find out until it's too late. The Roth IRA has income limits. In 2026, if you are single and your modified adjusted gross income exceeds $150,000, your ability to contribute directly to a Roth IRA begins to phase out. Above $165,000, you cannot contribute to a Roth IRA directly at all. For married couples filing jointly, the phase out begins at $236,000 and eliminates at $246,000. People who earn above these limits and try to contribute directly to a Roth IRA, making what the IRS calls an excess contribution. If not corrected, it results in a 6% annual penalty on the excess amount for every year it stays in the account. The penalty compounds. It is not dramatic, but it is entirely avoidable. And the fix for high earners who want Roth IRA access is a perfectly legal strategy called the backdoor Roth IRA. You contribute to a traditional IRA, which has no income limits for contributions, and then immediately convert it to a Roth IRA. The conversion triggers a small tax event on any earnings that occurred between contribution and conversion, which is typically negligible if done promptly, but the result is Roth IRA money that grows tax-free for a high earner who technically cannot contribute to a Roth directly. This strategy is explicitly legal. It has been acknowledged by Congress, and it is completely available to anyone whose income exceeds the direct contribution limits. If you earn above the threshold and you have been avoiding the Roth IRA because you assumed you don't qualify, you qualify. You just need to use the backdoor. Let me be completely practical here because I think the most useful thing I can do at this point in the video is tell you exactly what a properly set up Roth IRA looks like so you have a clear picture to compare your current situation against. A properly set up Roth IRA has contributions going in on a regular automated schedule, monthly or with each paycheck, up to the annual limit, which in 2026 is $7,000 for people under 50 and $8,000 for people 50 and over. Every contribution is invested the day it arrives or as close to it as the brokerage allows. The investment is a simple low-cost total market index fund with an expense ratio below 0.1%. The account is not checked obsessively. It is not traded based on market movements. It is not shifted into conservative holdings because the news is scary. It is left alone to compound. The account holder does not withdraw from it before retirement. The Roth IRA has no required minimum distributions during the account holder's lifetime, which means unlike a traditional IRA or 401k, it can continue compounding indefinitely without forced withdrawals. And in retirement, every withdrawal, including all the gains accumulated over potentially 40 years of compounding, comes out completely tax-free. That is the account working as designed. That is the version of the Roth IRA that produces the transformative retirement outcomes, not the version sitting in a money market fund waiting for someone to remember to invest it. The Roth IRA, one of the genuinely great tools available to ordinary Americans who want to build retirement wealth. It is not complicated. It does not require a financial advisor. It does not require sophisticated investment knowledge or market timing or any of the things that make investing feel overwhelming to most people. It requires opening an account, contributing consistently, investing the contributions in a simple low-cost index fund, and then leaving it alone for as long as possible. The mistake is not the Roth IRA. The mistake is treating the Roth IRA like a savings account when it is a compounding machine. The mistake is contributing for years without verifying the money is actually invested. The mistake is choosing the wrong investments inside it. because high-fee funds or individual stock picking felt more sophisticated than a total market index fund. The mistake is contributing when you earn above the limit without using the backdoor strategy. These are fixable mistakes, every single one of them, most of them in a single afternoon with a laptop and about 20 minutes of focused attention. The Roth IRA rewards the people who understand it and use it correctly with a genuinely extraordinary retirement outcome. It penalizes the people who think they are using it correctly but are not, with a retirement account that looks functional from the outside and is quietly failing them from the inside. Now you know the difference. The only thing left is to log in and check.